I used to wait for the perfect time to create as an artist, I used to think that art should come naturally or that it should arrive when you least expect it, Um, I believe this idea has been romanticized in fiction, books, or social media, but that has been a complete lie. Waiting for inspiration is basically procrastination. You are going to come up with a better idea eventually, and once you do come up with a better idea eventually, that's when I'm going to start to create, which is bogus and bullshit. You need to have a routine. A routine will make your inspirations become more predictable. And also, routines help you as an artist build discipline much faster and easier. And routine all starts on how you wake up. The first 60 minutes after you wake up determines your entire day. So let's say that you wake up and you go on your phone. You're already screwed for the most part because your brain is rewired a different way based on how you wake up. If you wake up instead with a slower morning, with a much more of a ritual before you begin to work, your brain will work much better and the ideas will naturally flow at those given times. You should start to work at the same time every day and wake up at the same time every day and have that same sort of order in your life because the order will give the chaos of ideas that you so desperately seek. As David Lynch always says about his routine, because you see him making such great films, but he lives such an ordinary, orderly life that's quite mundane. He eats the same food every day, and he's a simple man. Steve Jobs wears the same thing every day from his Apple, and Barack Obama as well, because it reduces the decisions that he has to take. The more you reserve your decisions, the more less decisions you take, the more space you leave your brain to think more. My worst creative period came from when I woke up anytime I wanted, and as soon as I woke up, I started scrolling on social media, for example, Instagram. You know, waking up early using your phone really sets the mood going forward for the day. And I really don't feel like working right after I did something that felt good, something that gave me instant gratification. Instant gratification means feeling good right now. So after I felt good right then in the morning, I do not feel like working. Like working becomes a chore now, you see. Your brain perceives work as a chore. It's hard because it requires effort. So your brain backs away from it and does something else instead, you see. So that's how it is. You wake up, you view social media, and then when you try to go do work, you're just gonna back away from it. So do the reverse. You wake up, have a slower routine, like waking up, getting sunlight, drinking water, brushing teeth, making coffee, feeding your cat, journaling, anything that's slow, like 10 to 20 minutes before you start to work to like get your brain up and going, and then you can begin to work. That's how I would do it. So start with something effortful. Signal to your brain that the effort leads to reward. Tasks that used to feel impossible become manageable. You need to flip your brain, you need to rewire your brain, you need to make work much more enjoyable. And you need to reward your brain. So after you work, then you can go on social media or do something else. Work comes first as an artist. If you really truly seek to become a great artist or take your work seriously, you will act like it, you will act accordingly. So please have your work first thing in the morning before a sort of morning routine. A pro tip on routine is that you need to plan today, tomorrow. So let's say tomorrow you have a tasks of work you need to do. So before you sleep tonight, plan what exactly you're going to do and be very specific. Do not just say draw um draw storyboard, don't just say that. Say draw 2 pages of storyboard and so and so and so. The more specific you are, the less thinking you will do in the morning and the less decision making you do. The day before, you are you're planning for yourself. You're like a think of the pilot, you plan your route before you actually go on the plane, you know. Once you go on the plane, you go with the route that you have planned the day before. So when you wake up, you just you just go with the flow with what you already planned, so you are not making any decisions. And not just don't do it just for work. Do it for like what you're going to eat, what you're going to do in your morning routine, so on and so forth. I break down the complete morning ritual system in my ebook, Break the Block, including how to design your own creative warm up that actually works for your brain. Link below. When you sit down at the same time daily to create, your brain anticipates that. Neural patterns strengthen. What required massive willpower becomes automatic, like brushing your teeth. When you don't plan your day the night before, and when you do not work at the same time every day, you fall into the trap of what's called the Netflix paralysis, where when you sit down to watch Netflix, it takes you a good 10 to 20 minutes to actually choose something that you want to watch. And when you even do decide to watch something, you probably just watch 10 minutes of it, get bored, and think that that was not for you, and you move on to something else. And like you're just deciding and deciding every single time to watch Netflix, but you don't know what to watch. So if you plan the night before, you are going to know what to do in the day. I know this sounds very constraining and very rigid or orderly, too orderly for you, but this is how most famous artists and creators actually create, because constraining yourself is your best tool to become a better artist. If it's your job to eat a frog, it's best to do it first thing in the morning. This is a famous quote from Mark Twain, which basically means, let's say I come to you and I say, hey, you have the decision to eat a frog or to eat something tasty. Would you eat the frog at dinner time, or would you eat a tasty food now? What would you rather have? The correct answer is eating the frog now and eating your tasty meal later. Because if you eat your tasty meal now, it tastes good, but that's instant gratification for you to feel good. But you're always going to be thinking in the back of your head of what's to come. That's something very negative of eating a live frog, which is unpleasant to think of. But if you just get it out of the way, you have something good to look forward to. Your favorite meal. That's what you want. You want to do the hardest task first. Then you can do anything else you want in the day. Primarily, I try to have two hard things that I need to do every day. And if I do not do it, my day is not successful. You see, it just becomes easier. If you do it the first thing in the morning, you use most of your energy, because throughout your day, your energy naturally drains. So take advantage of that. You can wake up anytime you want. Just when you wake up, have your morning ritual and do the hardest task first. The pro tip is I try to do, as I'm a filmmaker, but I try to do the most hardest thing as a filmmaker, which is script writing for me. So I have to get that done first. Hold on, you don't want to do work right away when you wake up. You want to warm up. You want to warm up before you actually start to create, to get your brain flowing naturally. Athletes don't just run into the field and start playing. They warm up. Same applies to creating. My worst period was I wake up, check my phone, scroll, and I see people's work, I get jealous, and I feel like, oh my god, I haven't done anything at all today. And I feel a sense of negativity inside me. My brain is scattered all over the place, my confidence is out of the window, and I have anxiety. But my new morning routine is I wake up, I get sunlight while drinking water outside, and then I go for a walk. I come back, I make coffee, and then I journal, I meditate, and then I finally start to work. I give time for my brain to warm up, for my brain to recharge from the night before, and I can work with a nice, focused, fresh brain. The ritual doesn't need to be elaborate. It needs to be yours, and it needs to happen every single time. So have the ritual, have your hardest. So have your morning ritual or your morning routine, have your work and do the hardest. So have your morning ritual, your morning routine, your hardest task, so your work, and can do anything else afterwards. Today's action step. Plan tomorrow today. So plan exactly what you're going to do today and be detailed. Tomorrow morning, try this. Put your phone in another room whilst you work. So tonight, write. So tonight, plan tomorrow today. Plan precisely and be specific of what exactly you're going to do in your work. And today, put your phone in a different room before you go to sleep. That way, when you wake up, you don't instantly get your phone. I recommend getting this thing on Amazon, which is really good. I see people online saying that it actually works from them. So you can just set, for example, 10 hours to lock it for while you're sleeping. So that way, even when you wake up, you're not instantly checking your phone. Or you can just put your phone in a different room.